Good morning, everybody. It's Reverend Tim, and we are just about 3 minutes away from the start of our service this morning. If you want to get a chalice or a candle, go do that now. That way you can join us when we light the chalice near the start of the service. I'd love it if right now you would like us on Facebook, share this feed with all of your Facebook friends. That gets the great good news of Unitarian Universalism out into the world. And it's the perfect time for coffee. Go get your tea, your hot cocoa, and we will see you back in 3 minutes. Now back to Lorenzo. Hola, soy Timoteo. Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tim Kutzmark, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno, California. Buenos dias. Good morning. It's been said that we shall be known by the company we keep. And if that's the case, this morning we are in great company together. We welcome you, no matter your age or race, cultural origins, or religious beliefs. We welcome you sin papeles y con papeles, with documentation and without documentation. We welcome you no matter your level of education or how much money is in your bank account. If you are part of the LGBTQ plus community, you are part of our community, obviously. And whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you are on your journey, wherever you are on that journey, you are welcome. Todos son bienvenidos aquí. And so, as we prepare to begin our time of being together in love, in hope, in connection, and community, I invite you in just a moment to join the Wise family in their home as they lead us in lighting our chalice. But before that, allow the sound of the tingsha to carry you to that wisdom that is within us, among us, and beyond us.
Good morning from Team Wise, everyone. It's so great to see you all, or at least to imagine seeing you all.
Our chalice lighting words come from the Unitarian Universalist minister, Alice Anacheka Nasiman.
In a time of uncertainty, when everything around us is changing constantly, each day new developments, rising numbers, changing guidelines, when the world we live in suddenly seems upside down and topsy-turvy.
We light our chalice to remind ourselves of our grounding in our faith.
We remember that the flaming chalice came into being as a beacon of hope during World War II, a secret symbol that offered help.
In the midst of it all, we wrap ourselves in the warm light of a familiar flame.
A reminder of the strength that emerges when we come together in community.
So in that spirit, let us join in singing together our song of praise, Gather the Spirit.
Gather the Spirit, harvest the power, and our separate fires will kindle one flame. Witness the mystery of this hour, the trials in our light appear all the same. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience divine, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
How soy Danny. Howdy everyone, Danny here, and I've got your time for all ages and a good story I think you're gonna enjoy about a farmer who had lived his whole life working the fields with his family and his children, and he was ready to retire. So he told his family, his three sons, that he was gonna retire, and immediately they started to argue over who would take his place as the head of the farm. Stop, the father said. I will choose who will take over the farm, and I will do it based on this test. The three of you must go out into the forest and find 3 sticks and bring them back to me, and bring 2 of each kind of the stick that you come back with. So the sons went into the forest and they gathered the sticks and they came back to present them to their father. First, the oldest son went. Father, he said, I have brought 2 roots, because like the roots, I have all of the cumulative wisdom of our family. I have been absorbing it for years and I am ready to take on. The father took the root from his son. Next, the middle child went and he said, Father, I have brought you this branch from an oak. Like this branch, I am sturdy and strong, and I have supported our family with hard labor. And the father took one of the branches from his middle son. Next, the youngest son went, and he said, Father, I have brought you the supple branch of the pine that can sway in the wind, because like the pine, I can move with the challenges. The father took the pine branch from his son, leaving them each with one of their own branches. He took one by one the branches that they had given him, first the root, and he went to break it, and snap, it broke. And then he grabbed the oak branch, snap, it broke. And then the pine, snap, it broke. Children, he said, all of your branches have broken. Clearly, none of them alone is enough to support the farm. And then he took the remaining branch that each son had, and he put them together in his hands. And he wrapped his hands around the root and the oak branch and the pine, and he went to break it, and he tried to break it, but he couldn't. And he said, see, sons, your branches, just like you, are stronger together. And if the farm is to live on, you must embrace one another.
Let's take a deep, deep breath now into the wisdom of Danny's story, taking that breath in and hold it just a moment, and then let that breath out. And now let's take another deep breath. But when you do, imagine you are breathing peace into every cell of your body. And just hold that breath a moment, connect to your love. And now as you breathe out, just breathe out love into the world. Yeah. Another nice deep breath of peace in. And hold that peace for just a moment. And then breathing out love into the room, into the house, into the world. And one more time, let's take a deep, deep breath in, peace, peace. Hold for just a moment. Find your love, and now breathe it out into the world. As we continue breathing together in community, joined by that wonderful breath that is unseen, that is invisible, and yet it is here. And yet it is linking us together. As we continue to breathe, I invite you to let that breath just carry you back over the last 7 days, the last week, a gift of living. And then you breathe into that week. Where in the last 7 days did you see or hear or experience beauty? Beauty. Just breathe into that memory and claim it for yourself. And as we continue breathing together in community, allow that breath to again carry you back over the last 7 days, the gift of living through the last week. How in the last week did you offer love or kindness? How did you offer love or kindness? Just breathe into that memory and hold it, claim it. We come together in this sanctuary that we create by our breathing and by the beating of our hearts and through the wonders of the World Wide Web. And we bring into this space our memories of the week. We bring into this space our joys, our concerns, and our sorrows. And this is the time where some of us feel like we want to share some of that. So in the chat box, if you wish, you can just write in a joy, a concern, or a sorrow that's in your heart this morning. Please remember, no last names because the world is watching. And as we share together in community, I want to lift up Laura, who is awaiting surgery, Karen and Al, Want to wrap Rich in a big cloak of love. Rich was released from the hospital this week and is back home, and it was non-virus related. And Rich, we're just glad you're safe at home and are healing. Wrapping our love, our collective love around April and Sue. We think of Linda S. and Nellie Ann, who will be 101 near the end of the month. We think of Robin and Glenda, Pat, Betty and Bill N, Glenda and Molly. We also want to remember today those of us who struggle with or live with anxiety and depression. During these unsettled times, that can be stirred up and deepened. So we want to just hold ourselves gently and in love. We're thinking of all of those who have lost their jobs or face economic uncertainty in these times. We're remembering everyone who is keeping us safe, especially the healthcare workers, those who are keeping us fed, those who are driving and delivering. And this morning, let's give a special shout out to those who are ensuring that public school children are still being fed. The cooks and the food prep people, the administrators, the bus drivers who are delivering not just needed food, but moments of kindness and connection to vulnerable families. And if you want to become part of that shout out of love, just press the numeral 1. Just send out 1 so they know that we are thinking of them. I'm also aware that here in the San Joaquin Valley, the instances of domestic violence are on the rise as people are cooped up at home. And so we hold all those who are feeling afraid now to leave their homes. This morning, we also feel sadness and disappointment. Our Black Lives Matter banners were cut down 3 nights ago. You can see in that picture just surgically cut out of the frame, and you needed a really tall ladder and a lot of prep to be able to do that. And then the next day, the other side was defaced. And it reminds me, this happening, that all lives don't matter the same here in Fresno, in the Valley, and in this country. And we live at a time when Black and brown lives don't matter as much as do the lives of white people. And I was thinking about that last night because yesterday was the 52nd anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. Yesterday, the Poor People's Campaign wrote that the night before Dr. King was brutally shot down on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis on April 4th, 1968, Dr. King preached these words: "Nothing would be more tragic than to stop at this point. Either we go up together or we go down together." 52 years later, in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic and the poverty that preceded it, these words have never been more true. My dear ones, epidemics emerge along the fissures of our society, writes the Poor People's Campaign, reflecting not only the biology of the infectious agent, but patterns of marginalization, exclusion, and discrimination. We are seeing that in our society, and that our society is only as healthy as our sickest person. Our country is only as secure as those who have jobs and wages that pay a living wage, and students who can pay their debt, and uninsured people are given insurance. Times like these require that we do come together. And if we all aren't in this together, no one will be in this together. And so we light our candle of community. We light it for all that has been spoken. We light it for everything that's been written in our community of chat box. We light it for all those things we hold in our hearts. We light it too for all those who have no one to think of them with tenderness and gentleness on this Sunday morning. By our remembering, may we and they be blessed. We light our second candle this morning. We light it for all those who have lost their lives to the virus. 66,000, which is more than twice the amount when we were together last Sunday. And so, as our candles burn, let us join our voices in our call to meditation, a meditation on breathing. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love. Cuando respiro, respiro paz. Cuando exhalo, exhalo amor.
When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Cuando respiro, respiro paz. Cuando exhalo amor. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Cuando respiro paz. Cuando exhalo amor. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Cuando I respiro paz. Cuando exhalo amor.
Will you take a moment and just look at your hands and imagine, if you will, the hands that first crafted this bowl in the 1600s in Tibet. I imagine the hands of the first Buddhist monk who held this and then rang this bowl. And then perhaps this bowl was passed by those hands from the monastery down to the village, perhaps to a palace, perhaps to a peasant's home. And through the years, it was passed to us, and we collectively hold this bowl together. Spirit of life, fuente de amor. We rest this morning on the edge of a time of sacredness for two of the many world religions. Judaism is preparing to celebrate Passover, the festival of liberation, and Christianity is preparing for Holy Week. Today, Palm Sunday, begins that journey that builds to Easter morning. Spirit of life, two great teachings from these two faiths have been written upon hearts through the ages. Those two teachings, O Spirit of life, are the distillation and the summation of their spiritual centers. And we ask, O Spirit of life, fuente de amor, that these teachings be written anew on our hearts. The teachings from Judaism that says we are called to serve and protect the most vulnerable among us, the children, the widows, those without resources, those without homes, those who are strangers in our lands, the immigrants and the refugees. Spirit of life, right to that great teaching that Jesus has written upon hearts of his followers through the ages, that call to love our neighbor as ourself, the call to love the stranger and the most forgotten among us as ourself. Oh, Spirit of life, Fuente de Amor, help us imagine the world that we would create if we could only live through those two great teachings. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And as Danny unmutes Lorenzo, so Lorenzo can be heard. So we continue breathing together. There we go.
Good morning, it's Carrie again. Our reading today is called A Little Piece of Our Souls, written by Stephen F. Smith. Everywhere we go, we take our souls with us. And every time we meet someone, we wrap a little piece of our souls around them and pass it through them. All our lives, we weave our souls around and through everyone we meet, tying a complex, tangled web on the earth. This is who we are to the world around us. Each of us has 1,000, 1,000,000 tendrils of other souls wrapped around and through us. And this is who we are to ourselves. Sometimes we need to grasp these tendrils for all we're worth just to keep ourselves here. Sometimes the tendrils snap and we can weave no more. But the 1,000, the 1,000,000 threads we have already woven remain, tangled messily about the earth. This is still who we are, and we aren't diminished, but it does leave a hole. You have wrapped your soul around me and through me 1,000, 1,000,000 different times. If I gather all those threads in my hands and hold tight, and if you hold onto all the threads that have ever pierced your soul, wrapping them around you like a protective cloak, anchoring you to the ground, maybe the threads won't snap, and you can keep weaving a little longer. If it snaps anyway, I will take all the threads you have left me and wrap them around a spool that I carry with me always. But try not to let your tendrils snap. I'd like to feel you weaving your soul around me and through me longer.
Who has wrapped their threads around and through you? It was my first Saturday in Fresno 5 years ago in April of 2015. I came to Fresno as one of the finalists to become this congregation's next minister, flying from Boston to spend the weekend with the Ministerial Search Committee, which meant hours and hours of interviews and really deep conversation. Now, let me tell you, it was an astute search committee. Knowing Fresno's reputation for having the worst air quality in the country, and knowing that the summers here could get, how shall I say, slightly warmish, several committee members invited me on a short afternoon hike out in the mountains. They wanted to show me, unseen and invisible from where we stood in Fresno, just 1 hour away, there awaited fresh, cool air and indescribable beauty. We made the drive up to the Sierras and then walked into a pine forest of green grandeur. After 30 minutes of intense hiking uphill, Jody, Linda, Carolyn, and I were rewarded by having our collective breath taken away, not by the steepness of the climb, but by the stunning vista that suddenly opened before us. As John Muir once proclaimed, the clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness. Between every two pines is a doorway to a new world. There was so much beauty in that pine forest. We absorbed it. The blue of sky, the scent of pine, the touch of breeze, and the overwhelming sound of silence. If you've had a similar experience in the mountains, could you press the letter M on your keyboard? But it was only later, days after that hike, that I realized my limited awareness had only danced upon the surface of this mountain-induced awe. There was so much more alive in that moment. Because underneath us, beneath the surface of that pine forest, unseen and invisible from where we stood, there was something else that could take our breath away. A vast web of interconnected life, a hidden root system with a network of communication and support that rivaled anything up above. We all know roots are what hold a pine tree in place and bring it nutrients. But it's not just an individual tree's roots that support it. It is the interrelationship between all the trees and all their roots. Not unlike we human beings, trees need each other to survive and thrive. Valentina Lago Marcinto tells us that scientists have found that trees living in forests tend to live longer than trees living in urban environments, often because of isolation. Through their roots, trees are able to sense when another tree needs help or is in danger. And through threads of microbes, one tree can send their own resources to help another tree. Studies show that a tree does not discriminate in this mutual aid. A pine tree will help out a birch, who will help out an elm, who will help out a willow. Instead of the World Wide Web, some call this the Wood Wide Web. And so, if we ask a tree the question, who has wrapped their threads around and through you? A tree would answer us. Each and every other tree in the forest. Trees survive because of things unseen that hold them in place and support them if they would fall. So too do we. We survive because of things unseen that hold us in place and support us when we would fall. Let me say that again. And when I do, would you speak those words aloud back to me? We survive. We survive because of things unseen, that hold us in place, and support us when we would fall, Think back to that poem by Stephen F. Smith that Carrie shared just a few minutes ago. It began, "Everywhere we go, we take our souls with us." Now, let me just stop for a moment. Let's not get hung up on a super religious word like soul. Soul, in this case, isn't something supernatural, but something solidly human. Soul can refer to our essential nature. Soul can refer to our capacity for goodness. It can refer to our love. Soul can be the best aspects of who we are, the caring that we share with others. So let's hear that poem again. Everywhere we go, we take our souls with us. And every time we meet someone, we wrap a little piece of our souls around them and pass it through them. All our lives, we weave our souls around and through everyone we meet, tying a complex, tangled web to the earth. This is who we are to the world around us. Each of us has 1,000, 1,000,000 tendrils of other souls wrapped around and through us. Isn't that just an amazing image? If you think so, could you press the letter A for awesome? As Unitarian Universalists, we have a name for the 1,000, the 1,000,000 tendrils that have been woven around and through us. The seventh principle of Unitarian Universalism calls this the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, which is just a fancy way of saying all of us and all things on this earth are interconnected and interdependent on each other. And with the fact that comes because of this, a great responsibility for us to act for the well-being of the greater whole, not just our tiny part. Everything on this planet survives because of things unseen that hold us in place and support us when we would fall. We can't actually see that great interconnection of holding and support, but we can feel the result of it. We can't actually see the tendrils of love that hold and support us, but we can feel the result of it. We can't actually see the threads of hope that hold us and support us, but we can feel the result of it. We can't actually see this wondrous worldwide web that holds and supports us, but we can feel the result of it right now as we are connected in this church community, joined in love and hope and holding and support. We're not alone. We are in this together. As Stephen F. Smith reminds us, we have wrapped our souls around us and through us 1,000, 1,000,000 different times. If we gather all these threads in our hands and hold tight, wrapping them around us like a protective cloak, anchoring us to the ground, maybe the threads won't snap and we can keep weaving a little while longer. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen.
I know it's all we've got to just be strong. And it's a fight just to keep it together, together. I know we think that we are too far gone, but hope is never lost. Hope is never lost. Hold on, don't let go. Hey, hold on, don't let go. Just move 1 inch closer. Keep on moving forward. We'll get through this. Just follow the light in the shadows. We're gonna be okay. I know our hearts are heavy from these nights. Just remember that we are all fighters, all fighters. We never know just what tomorrow holds. And we're stronger than we know, stronger than we know. Hold on, don't let go. Hey, hold on, don't let go. Just move 1 inch closer. Keep on aiming forward. We'll get through this. Just follow the light in the shadows. 1 inch closer. Keep on heading forward. We'll get through this. Just follow the light in the shadows. We're gonna be okay. And when the night is closing in, don't give up and don't give in. This won't last, it's not the end, it's not the end. We're gonna be okay. And when the night is closing in, don't give up and don't give in. This won't last, it's not the end, it's not the end. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay.
We're gonna be okay. Thank you, Lorenzo. The mission of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Fresno is to love inclusively, grow spiritually, serve gratefully, and work for justice. Amar inclusivamente, crecer espiritualmente, servir con gratitud y trabajar por la justicia. My friends, one of the ways that you help this mission manifest itself in the world is through sharing your gifts of time and talent, but also your gifts of treasure. In short, your financial support. Now, it's not necessarily apparent in the last 3 weeks how much work has been going on to create and sustain our new way of being together in community, this awesome virtual church. The staff has been so busy creating a new way to be in community. And while we've been doing that, the bills have been coming in. We've had to pay the mortgage, and we've had to purchase new equipment to support you the ways that you're seeing us today. And we really want to pay our staff. We are applying for the PPP grants from the government, but we want to pay our staff right now, and our income stream has dried up by 50%. Now, those of you who made your pledges or sent in extra offerings over the last 2 weeks, it's made a huge, huge difference. And I say thank you. The whole staff says thank you. Your generosity has made a difference to the staff. It allowed Patty, our member services and community coordinator, it allowed her to have her son Max, who many of you know because he used to play piano at church, to bring Max home and support him here in Fresno rather than in New York City where he was living, because Max is a musician and his income just dried up, of course. And so Patty's taking care of him. Your support allows Jody, our administration and facilities manager, to buy gas so that she can drive over to check in on her mother and bring her groceries because her mom is sheltering in place. And your generosity allowed me to pay my April rent to my landlord, which then means she's able to help support her family. And your generosity helped me out a big deal on Tuesday night when my dog Grayson got sick, and at about 11:30 at night I had to go down to the emergency vet. I was able to pay that bill because of you. So thank you for that. There are many different ways you can make your contribution this morning. First, if you use Cash App, just send your donation to $UU Fresno. You can go to our website, www.uufresno.org, and hit giving, and then you'll be able to give either through PayPal or with your credit card. And you also can make your offering this morning by text. Just text whatever amount you want to give, and it only accepts a minimum of $3. But as I said last week, Bill Gates, we're happy to have you text us $3 million, 855-497-7462, 855-497-7462. You can also send it in the old-fashioned way through the mail. And from my heart to your home, thank you for saying yes.
Hola, howdy everyone, it's Danny again. I've got a few reminders before I send it over to the Wise family for our closing words. I want to remind everyone that we have coffee hour right after this. We're hosting it on Zoom. The link and the phone number will pop up on the screen on your live video right after the service. And then 5 minutes after service ends, you can come right back to Facebook Live family so we can have our special time together and have some fun. And of course, we have to announce Reverend Tim's Sunday socks. There were 3 choices, but the winner was, drum roll in your houses, the blue Paisleys, number 2, 1 out. So today we have the blue Paisley socks from Rev Tim for his Sunday socks. After the service at 11:45, we have Reverend Tim doing a short introduction to Unitarian Universalism, and we'll pop that link in the comments and you'll be able to find that way. It's also on your connections calendar and your Zoom updates. If you go to uufresno.org and you click on updates, you can get it there. And remember that if you want to find more ways to get involved, you can reach out to Patty, and that's our connections at uufresno.org. That's connections at uufresno.org. And now let's go to the Wises for our wonderful chalice extinguishing words.
Hello again from Team Wise. It has been our pleasure to be part of the service this morning. We miss you all. Know that we are sending you out a big virtual hug. We hope that you feel our energy and take it with you. Please take some of our energy with you.
Please.
Let us join in our chalice lighting, extinguishing words.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts.
Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, al calor de comunidad o al fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevaremos en el corazón.
Thank you.
Bye.
And congregation, let's take our energy and let's send it right on back to Team Wise and thank them for being part of our celebration this morning. As we prepare to bring our service to an end, I ask you to gently place your hands on your heart for the closing words and then our sung benediction. Go now in peace. May you leave this place knowing you are good and knowing you are loved. Take your love, share it with the world. Stay safe until we meet again. And may the longtime sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and that pure light that is within you guide your way on. Blessed be. Amen.
May we have safe passage, safe passage. May we have safe passage on our way. Safe passage on your way, brother. Safe passage on your way, sister. Safe passage on your way, sweet children. Safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage, safe passage. May we have safe passage on our way. Shalom and assalamu alaikum.